Welcome back to The Distressed Princess. I'm Rhonda, and oh, we're getting close to Christmas, but I still have some Christmas DIYs up my sleeve to show you today. For the first one, I've gathered some things from the Dollar Tree and this thrifted old rusty bread pan. I absolutely love that the Dollar Tree this year had neutral color Christmas trees other than just white ones. So I've picked out 4 of them. I also have some of this crochet lace ribbon from the Dollar Tree and this little cutout wooden set to make a tree and some houses. It's got some other stuff in there, but we're just going to be using the trees. So this DIY is really simple. All you need to do is attach the tree to the stand that it comes with. There's little slots to fit it into, and they fit pretty securely, so I didn't even need to use hot glue. And as I'm rewatching this, I'm wondering why I didn't at least play around with the houses. I thought I wanted all trees, but I think it would also be cute maybe to attach one of the houses as well. I played around a long time to get the configuration of where I wanted the trees and the wooden trees. And after I figured that out, then I began to paint my wooden trees. I'm using the color Ivory chalk paint by Waverly. You can get this at Walmart. The back of the trees don't really show, but I painted them anyway, so I guess that's optional, and I did not paint the base. To make the wooden trees stand out, I did a dry brush with brown antiquing wax, also by Waverly, and you can get at Walmart. And I just went around the edges of the trees very lightly so that they would show up better. This was a lot more like my style, so I was really happy I decided to do this. This part is optional too. I wanted mine to light up, and I had this that came off of a light up thing that was from Dollar Tree. I thought it would be really neat to use in some sort of decorating, and so this will be the perfect use, but you could also use just regular rice lights. I felt like the wooden trees were sitting too far down into the bread pan, so I made a little riser out of tumbling tower blocks that you get at Dollar Tree. I stacked them too high, and I think I did 4 or 5 across. So here's the little riser I made. Looks like I did 5 across, and I'm using Gorilla Glue hot glue to attach this to the bottom of the bread pan right in the center. Now my wooden trees will stand up taller. Next, I attached my lights to the back of the bread pan. I did so in a way that the switch could still be turned on and off from the backside. So again, I'm using my Gorilla hot glue to attach my lights to the back of the bread pan. Now I'm putting down the Gorilla hot glue to attach my wooden trees to the riser that I made. Then I wrapped my lights around the trees. The trees from Dollar Tree are all the same height, so I decided I wanted the ones in the back corners to stand up taller. So again, I'm using my Gorilla Glue and a tumbling tower block to attach to the bread pan and make a riser for the 2 trees that are going to go in the back corner. And I attached those trees with hot glue as well. Assembly of this Christmas DIY was a lot of fun. I got to be totally creative and put things where I thought, so you do the same. Set yours up the way makes you happy, and like I said, experiment with the little houses that comes in the pack of wooden trees, and you might come up with something even cuter. The final touch to this Christmas DIY is the crochet lace ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I really love this stuff. I just left it in a little half bow on the front, but you can make a full bow, and I hot glued it in place so that it wouldn't move. Next up, I'm going to use some votive candle holders that my sweet Aunt Karen gave to me. They look like mercury glass and they have a greenish blue tint to them that I love. So I'm going to make them into candles using all of these waxes that you see and these snowflake candles that you get at the Dollar Tree. I use a wax warmer at my house, so I have a ton of these scented waxes all the time, and you can get these at Walmart too, and they might even have some at the Dollar Tree. I have 2 mason jars because I know that they're okay to boil in water, and I'm putting the same kind of waxes into both of the jars. If I would have had one bigger jar, I could have just used 1 jar, but I didn't have a big mason jar, so I'm using 2 small ones, and I'm dividing up my waxes so that they will both have the same amount, the same colors and everything. Then I put them in a pan of water. The water goes just about halfway up the mason jars, and turned on the heat to about medium, like a 5 on my stove, and waited for the water to boil. Once the water starts boiling, it does not take these little wax melts very long to melt completely. Meanwhile, I prepared my snowflake candles from the Dollar Tree, and I removed them from their metal votive holders. When the wax is all completely melted down, oh, by the way, you might want to use mason jars that you won't be using for anything else because this wax is going to stick to them and I'm not really sure how to get it out. And I'm also using an old butter knife. Using your oven mitts, because the mason jars will be hot, carefully pour the wax into each of the votives, and don't go all the way to the top. Leave a little room because we're going to add the snowflakes later. After the wax had set up just a little bit, and I know that it's not completely hardened all the way through, but pretty soft still on top, that's when I added my snowflakes. Now be very careful not to press too hard. I did very, very gently, and in a twisting motion, set the snowflake down into the soft wax. If you go too hard, then you're going to break all the way through, and the wax that is still liquid underneath will come spurting out, believe me, because this has happened. And I was able to kind of clean it up a little bit with my fingers. So this one isn't perfect, but nothing I make ever really is perfect, and I never expect it to be. So don't be hard on yourself. If something like this happens, it's still going to work and be very cute. Another option besides pushing the snowflake down into the soft wax would be to do a second pour. If I would have had more wax, then I could have poured more around the snowflake and it would kind of be encased. The wick only goes down through the snowflake, so after the snowflake is melted down, then you can place your votive candle on a candle warmer to release the smell of the waxes that you used. I think I'm going to get myself one of these wax warming lamps from Walmart because I think it's going to be perfect to use with these votives. I'll leave a link if you want to get one too. The next Christmas DIY is using this ornament that I found at Goodwill. I loved how ornate it was and that it was made of glass. However, it didn't really look very Christmassy, so I figured I would need to do some painting. So I removed its hanger, and I thought that maybe the top might unscrew, but it just came completely off. It's okay. We can use hot glue to replace it. I thought maybe the bottom might come off too, but it didn't. It actually made the painting process a lot easier. So you use the color of your choice. Green would be pretty, red would be pretty, but I'm staying with my neutral Christmas, so I'm painting mine with the same chalk paint that I used earlier. It's the color Ivory by Waverly. I decided to remove the hanging crystal from the bottom because it just didn't feel like it would look right painted the same color, and I didn't know really what to do with it, so I just removed it. Then I gave the ornament a second coat of chalk paint. I dried it all up with my hair dryer. Then I used a wet washcloth to do some wet distressing. And it didn't show up the orange underneath, it just shows up like black. And I love the look of this with the ivory paint and the little black scuffs showing through. And lastly, I used hot glue to replace the top. While I was at Goodwill, I also saw this joy. Now, it was red and glittery and totally not my style, but we can fix it. The first thing I did was take some sandpaper to the glitter so that it would be smoother. My plan is to decoupage the front of Joy, so the back side I'm going to paint with my Waverly Ivory chalk paint. I also painted the inside of the letters around all the crevices, everything except for the front. As a side note, I also think that it would have been really pretty painted black. And I only did one coat because I wanted it to be left a little rustic. Then I dried it all up with my trusty hairdryer. Now the fun decoupage part. This is some wrapping paper that I got at the Dollar Tree. I loved the print on it and that it's on a brown background. So imagine this with the white backing that we just painted, or black, like I said, would be pretty either way, or green. Yes, that would be pretty too. So anyway, I'm cutting out a piece of this wrapping paper just to go over the word. I'm using matte Mod Podge for this project, and I just squirted a line of it all over the Joy. Then I used a paintbrush to spread it all out over the top. Then carefully apply your paper over the top, press it down into the Mod Podge, and smooth out the wrinkles best you can. After the Mod Podge has dried, then you can take sandpaper and sand off all around the edges. I decided to dry brush a little bit of the ivory paint just around the edges to make it look a little bit distressed. And the final step is to seal it with more Mod Podge, and I did it the same way I did before. So this was originally red and glittery, not my style, and I hope this inspires you when you see something in the thrift store or Goodwill that even if it doesn't match your stuff, you wish it was something different, just go ahead and pick it up and inspiration will hit you on what to do with it later. Look at these cute birch wood planters that I found at the Goodwill. I couldn't believe my luck that I saw these. So I took them home. I'm going to try to do a Christmas floral arrangement. So I'm only going to be using one of these planters. And this was a great way to use up what was left of all the Christmas greenery I had bought for the Christmas season. Every bit of this came from the Dollar Tree. And I think that floral arrangements look so cute when there's a variety of different colors and different kinds. So everything goes in this pot. I picked up one of these cone-shaped floral foam pieces along with the green square floral foam pieces from the Dollar Tree. I hot glued the cone shape down to the center and the green square pieces just squished down around it. Then I just began loading her up. So I stuck my favorite stem in the center at the top, and the rest I cut individually with my wire cutters and just filled in everywhere. I always like when a floral arrangement has something in the center of it, so I used this crystal looking deer that you can get at the Dollar Tree if it's not sold out. Since my florals were kind of snowy looking, I decided the crystal deer went perfect. I placed him so that one of his back feet was standing on the rim of the planter, and that's where I put some hot glue to make sure that he would stay there. He's kind of hard to spot. He's camouflage in this crystal looking forest, but he's very, very pretty. Now let's take a look back at all our Christmas DIYs today. I hope you enjoyed this video and have a very, very Merry Christmas. And let's always remember the reason for the season, the sweet baby Jesus who came and loves us very much. I'll be back after the new year, so have safe and happy holidays, and I'll see you next time. Bye.